to GCSE Product Design, Design Influences, topic number 13, Globalisation. As always, don't forget to have your class notes booklet at hand so you can complete the few short questions there are about globalisation. So, what is globalisation? Well, it's all about the increase of trade from around the world. In other words, it's all about large companies producing goods in lots and lots of different countries and moving around from place to place. So, for example, Apple products are quite proud of the fact, and they say it on the back, designed in California, and yet they're made in China. And there are various reasons for doing that. One of these is it lowers costs. Very often, by getting a product made in another country, the wages that you have to pay the people are considerably lower, even though for them the wages are actually quite respectable. This means bigger profits for the companies. Okay, if they can cut down as many costs as possible by manufacturing these as cheaply as possible in the various areas, then that's obviously going to lead to bigger profits. It also means that there's going to be a ready supply of workers for them. I mean, the Chinese have lent themselves quite well to this process of globalization by providing a huge workforce of people to work in factories like Foxconn, making various electronic components for Apple and Samsung. Who does it then? Well, virtually everybody. Nike, Apple, Dyson, Primark, Hornby, Marks and Spencer's, Adidas, they all make use of labour in other countries to produce the products that they sell in countries like the UK, Europe and America. Some of the advantages of globalisation, well, it gives us easier access to goods and services. It means that we obviously get access to things that perhaps we might not have considered before. It gives us cheaper products because they're mass produced in other countries, and it also allows us to have a wider variety of products to choose from. This is quite evident when you look at, say, food items and the amount of food that you can choose from at a supermarket. And it comes from countries from all over the world. In terms of disadvantages of globalisation, well, obviously it puts smaller companies at risk. If a big company can outsource their work to another country and get a product made cheaper, then say the company in, say, the UK may be put at risk because they just can't compete with that because they have a certain amount that they have to pay the workers. They've got certain access to tools and machinery. So there's a very good chance that they may be put out of business because they just can't compete. The second disadvantage, which is the more nasty side, is the exploitation of workers. And the best way to explain some of that is just to watch some of these video clips.
All right, well, it's time now to check in with our American Morning team of correspondents for other stories new this morning. And we've talked a stunning first look factories where toys are made. Who joins us now with details. Good morning, Alina. Good morning, Kieran. You know, we've heard about the millions of toys that have been recalled, including those 250,000 SpongeBob SquarePants address books, which were recalled yesterday. Well, some believe that the problems we've seen can be attributed to devastatingly brutal conditions at the Chinese factories where these toys are made. Toys, by the way, with popular brand names like Disney, Hasbro, and Mattel. Now, China Labor Watch, a U.S.-based organization, went inside these factories, sending their own investigators to 8 Chinese factories over the course of the year, and what they found was simply stunning. Take a look at these photos. What they found were horrible working conditions, no overtime, no sick or vacation pay, no safety equipment for the workers, awful living conditions in dormitories, and in some cases, child labor. All of this in blatant violation of Chinese labor laws.
I was shocked at the conditions of the factories. Workers are working like machines, continuously producing 7 days a week, up to 14 hours a day, using dangerous chemicals. More than 10 workers are forced to live in one dormitory room with barely enough food to survive.
Now, China Labor Watch in part blames the U.S.-based toy companies, saying that they've turned a blind eye to safety. All of the major toy companies sent statements to CNN, including Hasbro, which said Hasbro takes the report from China Labor Watch seriously, and we will conduct a thorough investigation into the areas of non-compliance. Now, the Chinese government, by the way, has also announced it will be forming a committee to look into this. But China Labor Watch says the real problem is that the toy companies are looking to pay the lowest price for Chinese products, and in turn, the factories simply have no choice but to cut costs onto its workers. It is a big business. The U.S. toy market is worth $22 billion, and Kieran, 80% of those toys.
Okay, I think what she was going to try to say at the end there is 80% of those toys are actually made in China. So that gives you some ideas as to why some people would consider it unethical for a company to manufacture a product overseas because of the working conditions, the hours that they have to work, the lapse in sort of safety there may be in certain places. There's also the idea there of using children in factories, which they're not allowed to do. Okay, so there's quite a few reasons there for why people would consider manufacturing a product overseas would be unethical, in other words, not morally correct. So another video now about manufacturing clothing garments in India.
Many of the workers in this factory are migrants who have travelled thousands of miles from the poorer northern regions of the country. They send almost all the money they earn back to their struggling families.
This is your business, isn't it?
This is my business, yes.
So if you
Keen to discover more, Georgina sits down with Praduman, the English-speaking factory co-owner.
obviously your workers, they sleep on the floors here. Do you not sometimes feel bad for them for sleeping on the floor?
Yes, I do agree with you. But you see, in case they wish to spend more on their luxuries, they're most welcome. It's their money, how they spend it. But back home, the needs are more.
Yeah.
That's why they prefer not spending on their luxuries. They prefer sending it back home. Because they all have families to be supported back home.
And do they get paid for each garment that they
For
make?
each garment they produce, they get paid.
How much do they get for each garment?
Each garment has a rate attached to it. It's different for different garments. It's different per piece. If it's a simple piece, it could go up to like 10 rupees per piece.
So obviously the workers, if they get in 10 rupees per item, then that works out at 8p English money. See, the thing I'm struggling with the most is the fact that obviously these things that are being made, obviously, the workers are getting paid like 8 pence for them. And say if we take a normal garment like this, if I wanted to go buy this in a shop, then it would probably cost me about £10. So that's the bit that I'm sort of struggling with, the fact that obviously us as, the UK, we're paying people like yourselves to get their workers to make it for us, and then obviously we're paying you lot stupid amounts to do it. I just think that it could be done, so much better. It's just, it just really infuriates me.
Okay, so you can see the point she was trying to make in that video is that it's not necessarily about the working conditions. I mean, they looked relatively okay. I mean, the people there chose to sleep on the floors of the factory so that they can save money, so that every bit that they earn can be sent back home to their families. The point she was trying to make was that obviously they get paid such a low amount compared to how much that the final garment actually goes for. So obviously somewhere in the middle, that money is going to the people that either own shops like Primark or the factory owners here. So we as the public are benefiting from a product. The company's benefiting. The only people that aren't benefiting are the people that are actually making these things. Okay, so you could talk about globalization actually at length. It could be a topic that you could discuss endlessly. But it did crop up a couple of years ago. So I'll give you a couple of exam questions there for you to try. First of all is just explain what is meant by the term globalization, the definition of it. Try and give two advantages to us, consumers, buyers of products, all right? Two advantages to us of globalization, all right? What that means to us. And lastly, a slightly longer question about trying to explain why some people think it's unethical for companies to manufacture products overseas, okay? And so for a 3-mark question, you'd be expected to try and make 3 points. Okay, so try and raise 3 reasons why people would think it's unethical for companies to manufacture products overseas. Okay, so relatively short topic there, but something that you could discuss at length. Don't forget to have a go at this question, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and make sure everybody's using the Silcoats DT YouTube channel. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.